Right then, Frank, how you doing?
I'm hanging in there, Rob. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. It's starting to feel a little bit more normal, this, isn't it?
I hope it's not the new normal. No, we want it to be normal we get the fans in. But at least we're doing something, aren't we? We got 3 under our belt, testing times, and went out there and sort of pioneers of getting getting boxing back on again, which I think we've done in good style. And now we're up in the game with, world. I'm not saying anything but the other guys, but the real guys who are ranked up in number ones in the world and about to fight for world titles. So we stepped up, Carl, McCann, Archie, Troy, and our young man who we think is going to be the next big thing in Dennis McCann. We've got a fantastic show there, so I'm looking forward to it.
There's a lot of talk about Dennis McCann coming into this one. I think he's obviously, throughout his previous appearances, been, as you do, working his way through the undercard. Now he kind of gets a little bit more spotlight. When do you reckon it's going to sort of light the touch paper with him and it's going to get the really big audience?
I think when he gets a title fight, some form of a title fight, and I think that's going to be about three, maybe 4 fights time. Well, 3 fights time. He's got his 7th fight on Saturday, so he's quite up there. I mean, he's only a young man, but I think it was his last 17 or 18 amateur fights, he won them all by knockouts. I mean, absolutely done a major job. And I think now we're in a position where, I feel I'm saying let him off the leash, because he's still got to learn his trade. He's still a young man. And he's only had, as we say, his 7th fight on Saturday. But I think by the time he gets up to around 10 fights, he'll be ready for a title fight.
We were anticipating hearing about his property and marriage plans today before you got here. John Rawling giving a grilling on what watch and house and wife is.
I mean, he's an old marriage counsellor, Mr. Rawling. Yeah, I think what he's probably been doing in his spare time on the lockdown, become a marriage guidance counsellor. Now, look, he's a young man. He's got obligations now. But the one good thing about Dennis, he is a consummate professional and trainer. And he's got a good team. Alan Smith's doing a fantastic job in the gym with him, and I really do think he's going to go places.
He had a bit of a bet with Troy Williamson up there as well. Who works the hardest? Are you willing to chime in on that?
Well, they both look bloody fit as butcher's dogs, don't they? Both of them are really fit, and Troy, I know, has been working very hard. And he had a tremendous knockout in his last fight, didn't he? I mean, unbelievable poleaxing. And it's a shame because of this virus, they've not been able to capitalise on it. But he's in a decent fight. He's got a tough fight there. So let's hope he comes through and he can move on to bigger and better things.
Archie Sharp, another one similar to Dennis McCann. I think it's flown under the radar a little bit, but 2 fights ago he obviously had that incredible knockout of Declan Garrity at Royal Albert Hall.
Yeah.
And he's starting to get opportunities now where hopefully people start noticing him, and now he's being spoken about in that sort of world title talk.
Well, in one of the organisations, they're getting ranked, I think, number 3 or 4, so a couple of wins. And whilst hopefully Carl comes through and then Carl fights Jamal Herring late autumn, who knows, early next spring, he might become the mandatory. So he's got it all to go for. He can't afford to slip up.
Yeah, and that's always something that's nice around. I think we spoke about it before, a kind of best of British scenario. So that's your ideal scenario.
Well, I like them because they're passionate fights, and I think it's the funny thing. Best of British. Your fans get behind them, they watch them. Especially if it's a live event, you've got all the crowd there. They're always, phenomenal fights, and the crowd bring the best out of them. That's the challenge we've got at the moment with these guys. Some of the fights have been really entertaining and so forth. But I think that's because the away opponents don't feel they're entering into the other guy's backyard because there's no fans there. And they seem to all of them, not on my shows and other people's shows, have been quite entertaining and quite. I think it's this different environment they're in is bringing the best out of their opponents.
Yeah, it'll be strange to see a Michael Conlan fight without it, because he brings thousands of Irish fans, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So it'll be strange to see a Conlan fight without his.
He's got a tough fight. That guy's had 40 fights and won 35 of them. He's a seasoned pro.
Right. And Carl, getting him back on the show as well. You were talking up there in the press conference about how nice it is to work with him, and we spoke before about his bad luck as well. Nice to see him nearly lose a fight, but he definitely has one.
Yeah.
He nearly lost it. Got unlucky again.
We were going to do it on June the 13th in Belfast. It all fell apart for obvious reasons. So now we've got to get it back on track and get him out there. So he's fighting, hopefully, comes through this, that they get the fight with him and Herring by late October, early November.
When you saw about the Verdanian visa issues, were you thinking, oh God, Carl, not again?
It's challenging because you're in a position where you normally, we'll find somebody. It's difficult, getting them to travel from outside. And we was lucky that trainer was actually in training. So he was training hard, so he's in.
Yeah. And looking ahead at shows, we obviously got the August 29th show with Daniel Dubois. Are there any more shows on the calendar coming up now?
We're in the process of getting them organised. I think by the end of the week we'll be in a position to announce 2 shows in September and 2 in October.
And who are you looking to get out on them?
A few of the guys who've not been out. I'd like to get Anthony Yard back out in action and a couple of others. So we'll get them done by the end of the week and then we can announce them.
On that Yard talk, there's obviously been lots of talk about Yard Buatsi and the conversation we had last week about Matchroom versus Queensbury. How's that gone on for you? Because I know obviously they're busy with Fight Camp, but you called them, you had the conversation. How did you feel it went?
Well, it went that we're going to meet. I got a message over the weekend that get their shows out of the way. I think Eddie Hearn's going on holiday, so he said for his family for a couple of weeks and meet when he comes back. I got no problem with that. I can meet tomorrow, but let's get the meeting on. I'm good to go, good to meet anywhere, anytime.
What are we thinking for lunch then? You got to go big time for lunch, big time plans and big time lunch. You just got to go Mackie D's.
Listen, I don't care what it is. I mean, I'll go home and have a builder's cup of tea and a egg and bacon sandwich. I don't care where we got to go. Let's just go there and get it done. That's whatever it takes to make the deal happen.
And there was more talk with Fury this week saying, he might not get out till February 2021. Has he spoken to you at all?
I spoke to him this morning. That ain't happening.
No.
He's fighting this year. He doesn't want that, and I don't want it for him, and he certainly doesn't want it. And he wants that fight to happen this year by hook or by crook, or if not, another fight.
And is that something because obviously you're his UK promoter in the deal with Top Rank? Is that something then you'd get him on maybe one of these shows, or would it?
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, obviously we want to fulfil his contractual commitment, but he's not going to wait till February. That can't happen.
And is it a case of him wanting to have something to aim for? Because we know Tyson is so much more.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to Dave. He was quite frustrated the day when that came out, and it came out. I mean, I was unaware of it. It came out of the blue, but he doesn't want it, and we don't. And he said to me, "I want to fight this year." So that's my job to make sure he fights this year.
Did he name any names? I know he's normally.
No, we didn't even get there. He wants to honour his contractual commitment. That's what he wants to do.
Who would you like to put him in there if you could?
Anthony Joshua.
Straight away.
Yeah.
Even at the moment,
what fight does everybody?
Fans.
Let's cut through it.
Yeah.
What's the fight everybody wants to see? Everybody. I don't want to hear about Dillian White. I don't want to hear about all these guys. The fight everybody wants to see. That is the fight. Any world boxing, but certainly British boxing fan, that's the fight we all want to see. All the others, you got that list, and you put it out a poll on BT and said, right, vote for what fight. No one would vote. I don't believe hardly anyone would vote for the other fights. And if we did that, let's get to Dillian White against Daniel Dubois. And let's get to Joe Joyce against Chisora. Let's give the fans what they want.
Do you not think speaking of the fans, do you not think the fans in attendance thing will be the issue with that, though?
Well, it can be, but look, if this is the world we're in, this is the world we're in. And sometimes fights can disappear. Don't happen for various reasons. Let's see what happens.